Jayson Tatum drops 51. Joel Embiid, James Harden kept in check. Celtics are going to the conference finals, and I'm going to talk about it all right now on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
Be ever ready. Recognize the city of champs. Boston, baby, we do what you can't. Locked on number 18, Tatum and Brown, J-team, step back. We gon' wet that and slay teams. Of course, the Celtics, who else could it be? Screaming like KG with the Larry O.B. Karalis above average, assessing the team status. Best daily pod, no cap, salary matching. Clutch like Bird the DJ, keep John on replay. Prime time, dapping up the truth on the sideline. Rainy J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked on Celtics, pod, home of the winners. B.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day, and I'm here for you every day. If you're a subscriber, you get this show dropped directly to your device, so make sure you're subscribed on whichever app you use. Also, watch the show on YouTube. Hop in the comment section. I bet we're not going to find a whole lot of Philadelphia 76ers fans in the comment section today. I'm John Karalis. I used to play ball once upon a time. Now I cover the Celtics for Boston Sports Journal, and I'm doing it after a 112-88 win over the Sixers in Game 7. Today's show is brought to you by PrizePicks. PrizePicks gives you first-time users a 100% instant deposit match up to $100 with the promo code LOCKEDON. That's prizepicks.com, promo code LOCKEDON. And I'll tell you how PrizePicks might be able to make you a millionaire later on. Jayson Tatum was amazing. Second segment, Al Horford, defense on Embiid, amazing. Third segment, Jaylen Brown called out the crowd. Crowd was amazing. Guess what today's game was? Amazing. Of course. All right, let's start. Let's just start with the big story. Jayson Tatum, 51 points, 17 of 28 shooting, 6 of 10 from 3, got to the line 14 times, hit 11, 13 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a plus 33 on the night. I said after Game 6, I asked Jayson Tatum after Game 6, and I didn't quite get the answer I was hoping for, because I don't think he was in that mindset. I asked him again after this game. Did those shots, those 4 shots falling at the end of Game 6, did that help you kind of move forward here? And he said, yeah. Knowing that he had just played the worst game, he knew that if he just kind of relaxed, cleared his head, came out and just had some fun, that this would be, he would be better. He plays at his best when he's laughing, he's relaxed, he's kind of cool, and all of that. And he came into this game and he did that right away. He right away got a dunk, and he just knew, okay, well, he wasn't going to go forever without scoring. And first quarter, kind of like a little bit of back and forth, right? The Celtics came out strong. The Sixers answered. Here we go again, right? The Celtics it looked like they were playing way too fast to start this game. I thought the Celtics came out hyped, but like overly hyped. And Jaylen Brown admitted that after the game. He said we were just too hyped. I was watching PJ Tucker spot up in the corner, and he would up fake, and like a guy's knees would pass by his face. Guys were just so hyped up, they just flew right by him. It was undisciplined closeouts and all of that. And so when they calmed down, they finally started to get going. Early on, it wasn't about the scoring for Tatum. It was about doing the other things. Joe Mazzulla said after the game, he said, I told him, don't listen to everybody else who tells him to go out and get going, get some easy buckets early. And I got to admit, like that's an easy thing for me to say, like analyzing the game. And I was on Channel 5 on our pregame show on Channel 5. And we talked about that, getting Tatum going early, just getting him to see a couple of shots fall so he didn't go through the same kind of early scoring funk. And Mazzulla was like, no, you know what? You're not defined by your scoring. Go do the other stuff. And he did do the other stuff, and the scoring eventually came. And it came in the second quarter when he scored 14. But that's when the was a little bit of back and forth there. The turning point in this game, a lot of people said it, Doc Rivers said it after the game, was the flagrant foul on James Harden. It was 35-28 at that point. 30, let me see again. Harden commits the flagrant foul, 35-27. Celtics answer on an 8-0 run. And then after that, they outscored the Sixers 28-17 to close the half and take a lead into the half. And then the third quarter, it was just Tatum being absolutely sublime, awesome. The thing that I love the most about Tatum in the third quarter is that he hunted Joel Embiid on the switches. So they were switching everything. I'll be honest, I don't know why Doc Rivers kept allowing that switch everything. Might have wanted to go like switch 1 through 4 and do something different on Tatum, but he kept allowing the switches, and Tatum just kept taking Horford out to Embiid out to the perimeter and roasting him. In the third quarter, it started out with taking Embiid out and driving right by him and getting to the rim. And I think by that time, Embiid was starting to get both frustrated and a little bit tired. Then Tatum had this big, long, winding pick and roll started on the top right above the break. And then Tatum kind of wound his way to the left corner with the dribble and took a sidestep three in Embiid's face. And at that point, you're like, oh, God, here we go. Tatum's feeling it. And he just kept taking Embiid out to the perimeter and saying, hey, big fella, you're going to have to come guard me out here. If you're switching, if they're putting you on me out here, out on an island, I'm going to make you pay. And if he wasn't driving to the rim, he was setting up the drive, taking advantage of both Embiid being slower, being not 100%, being tired. When Embiid kind of had his momentum going one way, Tatum would step back the other way and get himself the open shot. Just masterful. And then afterwards, when they started to double, they started to say, okay, we cannot allow Tatum to just continue to crush us. We're running out of time. It was a 20-point lead. It started to grow out of control. Boom, he started spraying it. Jaylen Brown starts hitting three-pointers. Malcolm Brogdon starts getting baskets. Brogdon, 12 points in the second half. The bench points at halftime was 4-0 Philly. Bench points after that, let's see here, was 15, 16, 17 if you got Champagne's little extra bucket there in garbage time. We'll say 17 to, 17. They matched it, 17 all. But Malcolm Brogdon comes in, hits a couple of three-pointers. Can I just say, one of my favorite parts of Malcolm Brogdon's night was Tatum was cooking. Absolutely. Everybody in the world knows it. And Tatum was open on the right side. And Brogdon's like, you know what? No, I got a lane to the basket. I'm taking this lane to the basket. And he took it. He's like, yeah, you get your 50 some other way. I'm getting this bucket. That was kind of funny to watch. But Tatum would spray the assists. Jaylen Brown finished with 25. Just a cool, calm, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steal night, 2 blocks for Jaylen. Jaylen's defense was really good. This is a night where Game 7 is where the stars make a difference. Game 7 is where stars step up, right? This is, we all know the storylines. We know stars make the differences in these games. Boston Stars, Jayson Tatum, 51. Jaylen Brown, 25. That's 76 points. Joel Embiid had 15. James Harden had 9. That's 24. So Jaylen had more than those two combined. Tatum, more than double those two combined. And 24 times 3 is what? 20, 40, 60 plus 12 is 72. Hey, the Celtics got 76. So That's a third of what Tatum and Brown scored together. Celtics stars did the job. Tatum did 2/3 of that job, but that was just an amazing takeover. But it doesn't happen without the defense. And that turning point happened because of the defense. The Celtics got stops. The Celtics got stop after stop after stop, and were able to run off of that. Horford was the man. Here's a guy, what did he finish with? 6 points on 2 of 6 shooting, and he might have been just as important as Tatum was on the floor. I'll talk about that next. First, let's talk about PrizePicks. PrizePicks is going to make somebody here a millionaire. All you got to do every day of the NBA Finals, PrizePicks is going to take one of you and give you a chance to win $1 million. You place your entry after 8 a.m. Eastern, and one of you will get randomly selected every day. And whoever gets the 6-pick flex correct has a chance to win $1 million, right? You get a 6-pick flex. You get all 6, you get $1 million. You get 5, you get 80,000. You get 4, you get 16,000. Go to prizepicks.com/million to opt in and get all the details. Once you opt in, you play the game regularly. prizepicks.com/million. How do you play the game regularly? It's daily fantasy. You pick 2 to 6 players. If they score more or less than the PrizePicks projection. So if you took Tatum more than whatever the PrizePicks projection was, you would have won, because I guarantee you their PrizePicks projection wasn't more than 50 points. That's how it goes. Pick more, you pick less, you get them all right, you win. It's just you versus the numbers on any sport really that you watch. You got to go to prizepicks.com, and if you're a first-time user, sign up. You get a 100% instant deposit match with the promo code Locked On. So start there. PrizePicks.com, promo code Locked On, deposit up to $100. PrizePicks gives you that exact amount with the promo code Locked On. They get you that $100 instant deposit match. Then you go to prizepicks.com/million. You sign up, you opt into that. Maybe you can become a millionaire. I want to thank all of you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. You can head on over to Locked On Sixers. That's going to be a fun one, because if you want, hey, hop onto the YouTube page, flood them with comments, just like the Sixers fans flooded Locked On Celtics YouTube page with comments. Let them know. We saw you. We saw you talking your mess. That's all right. It's all about who wins the series. You know, after game 5, lots of ha, 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 ha. Who's laughing now? The defense was absolutely amazing. A shout out Adam Himmelsbach of the Globe for this stat. He tweeted it out. The Sixers were the 3rd-ranked offense in the league. Boston came in having not allowed below 90 points per game all season. They did it 3 times this series. The move to get Rob in might have been what changed this entire series. Getting Rob in the starting lineup, getting him more involved, changed everything. After the game, Joel Embiid said, they took away our bread and butter. They took away that pick and roll, and it forced us to either have James Harden make a play or get the kickouts. Well, James Harden didn't make a play. I'll tell you that much. James Harden finished the game 3 of 11 for 9 points. He did not score in the 4th quarter of each of the final 3 games of this series. James Harden, I'll repeat that, did not score in the 4th quarter of the final 3 games of this series. James Harden. Philly is known for an overrated sandwich, so it makes sense that they have overrated basketball stars. Those guys in the biggest moment, a game 7, the best team since the process began, came out here onto this floor right here and said, nah, we got nothing. They came out there, those 2 stars who were supposed to lead this team to something special. And they said, nah, we're good. The defense from Al Horford, mwah, chef's kiss. Beautiful. He looked like a guy in his 20s. He did not look like a guy who just signed a 2-year extension that might be his final contract in the NBA. And he said after the game, I knew it wasn't going to be about my offense in this series. I had to make my imprint on this series, and he knew he was going to have to do it defensively. Defensively, between him and Rob especially, taking away that pick and roll, he could guard, Horford could guard Embiid straight up. Jaylen Brown did a wonderful job all series long. Once he started guarding James Harden, he did it again, picking up Harden up high here, about half court, and making this a very difficult series for him. Horford was able to limit Embiid. Embiid had come into this series. I've got the numbers right here as I scroll down. Let me scroll. He came into the series a 55% shooter from the field in the regular season. He shot 42% against Al Horford. 42%. Al Horford in Game 7, shout out Michael C. Wright for this stat. Al Horford held Joel Embiid to 3 of 16 as his primary defender in Game 7. That is elite defense from Grandpa Horford, who's out there, the OG, and this is Embiid, the MVP, and I know he's not 100%, so I understand that. Not 100%, but clearly out there without the brace, he was feeling better, clearly should be able to handle Al Horford, right? Nope. Al Horford continues to be singularly the best defensive option in the NBA against Joel Embiid. Just has his number, just knows how to play him, can absorb the physicality and can still play him straight up, still quick enough, still has the good reactions. The game plan against Embiid was, perfect. And shout out to Joe Mazzulla for this plan. The way they guarded him, Horford mostly straight up, Rob kind of there to blow up the pick and rolls, sending over late doubles. I can remember 2, 3, 4 times where Embiid was dribbling, like trying to back down Horford. Horford's handling it. Bump 1, bump 2, bump 3. Here comes Jayson Tatum or Jaylen Brown. And as that ball's on the floor, there they are, blowing up the dribble, getting a steal, disrupting him, forcing him to pass. So throwing those different looks, late double teams, late traps, going with the Horford straight up. In the third quarter, there was a stretch there where Horford, again, guarding Embiid straight up, goes right up and blocks him straight up. We saw that in Philly in game 5, game 4, at the end of game 4. That was the game the Celtics could have won, should have won, but Horford did a great job on Embiid there too. Just all defense long, all series long, all defense was spectacular. Horford, it's going to be interesting against Miami to see how Horford kind of, if they're going to go back to spacing and 5 out to draw Bam Adebayo out, or if they're going to go back to Rob and say, hey, we don't want to have Bam kind of living at the rim. I'm very curious to see what Mazzulla is going to do there. I don't know what to expect, but I do expect it to be a better series for Derek White, who just kind of struggled in this series. Was the only guy as a negative in this one, minus the bench guys in the garbage time. But of the regulars, Derek White, 12.5 minutes, -8. I expect him to have a better series against Miami. But I'm like I said, I'm curious to see what Joe does defensively against the Heat. But I'll just say, man, the Sixers, wow. On the 10th anniversary of the process starting, the 10th anniversary of Sam Hinkie getting the job, being announced as the president and GM and all of that. I think the Celtics ended the process. I think the process is absolutely officially done. I don't know if Doc Rivers survives this. I don't know if James Harden is coming back. And who knows what Embiid is going to do at this point. I don't know. But I think there's a lot that's going to happen in Philly. And Celtics are responsible once again. Might be the best part of this series. That Boston is the team that said, hey, Philly, here's your process. That's very satisfying because there's one thing that Boston loves outside of beating the Lakers. It's making Philly look bad. Jaylen Brown called out the crowd. The crowd responded. And so did Jayson Tatum, who said the absolute most definitive thing he's ever said about Boston. And that's coming up in just a minute. First, I want to thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. So tomorrow I'm going to start getting into the Miami Heat. I don't know how many leftovers are going to have against of the series here against the Sixers, but doesn't matter. The Sixers series is done. Moving on, we're going to focus on Miami tomorrow. And then I got to get a crossover show because I got to get that crossover prediction show where I'm going to infuriate another fan base by saying Celtics should win this series pretty easily. That's kind of my thing here now. I said Celtics in 6. It's Celtics in 7 over the 76ers. So Jaylen Brown before game 7, after game 6, called out the crowd. And he said afterwards, I called the Garden out after last game, and way to respond. The energy of the building was through the roof. I can confirm the energy in this building was just outrageously loud. This building responded. They played on the Jumbotron. They played the Jaylen Brown comments. So it's not like they were hiding from him. It's not like they said, oh, Jaylen, you shouldn't have said that. They leaned really hard into them, and the crowd went absolutely nuts the whole series. And the game ops people, they were really leaning into it too. There was one stretch there in the third quarter where it was like game was about to break open, and they played the old Terminator Arnold Schwarzenegger yelling. It's a video that they've had in their back pocket for years and years and years. It always gets a big pop from the crowd. And then after they get the big pop from the crowd, they show Bob Kraft, who was sitting out here, and it gets an even bigger crowd pop. And then they show Donnie Wahlberg, and then the crowd goes nuts again. I mean, they were really trying everything they could possibly do to get the crowd behind the Celtics, and it worked. And the reason why I'm dedicating a whole segment to, hey, the crowd was loud, it's because of what Jayson Tatum said after the game. I'll read you the whole quote. I got to give a lot of credit to the crowd. We needed that. This was probably the loudest the Garden has been in like a year, and we fed off that energy. The energy that they gave us today really helped us, and we're going to need that the rest of the way. They feed off us, and we feed off them, and you could just feel it. The building was rocking. Everyone was standing up, and my emotions got the best of me in that moment in a good way. I can't express it enough. The genuine love that I kind of feel from the crowd, whether it's pregame, during the game, at the free throw line. I've been here my whole career. I feel that they embrace me almost as one of their own, and that means a lot. I love being here. I love getting to put on this uniform. I love being able to play big games, to put on good performances in front of them, and they feed off emotion and energy. It's reciprocated. I can't express enough that I just love being here and love playing in front of this crowd. Oh my God. Has Jayson Tatum ever said anything that definitive about the Celtics, about the crowd, about the city, about being here? No. And maybe he's caught up in the moment of dropping a 51-point historical gem, but it just seems like this. I don't want to overstate it, but I'm going to overstate it. This feels like the moment where Tatum really kind of became like that Celtic. That he's always been a Celtic, right? He's always been a Celtic. But this game almost felt like that Paul Pierce moment. That time where Paul Pierce, LA kid, kind of transformed and became a Celtic for life. And it was, I think maybe Pierce's moment was raising that MVP trophy up over his head on that rickety little card table out here. And, people trying to hold him up there so he didn't fall and kill himself. I don't know. Maybe the past couple of games, it's been a little bit different for Tatum. The way he came out of game 6, him and Jaylen Brown were hugging each other and smiling at each other. Then Jaylen after this game was talking about just get out of that man's way. Everybody should go buy those Jayson Tatum ones, like selling sneakers for Tatum at the podium. That's love, man. That's love. And for Tatum to be like, you know what? I love this city. I love putting on this uniform. I love putting on a show for these fans. I got a question recently on my Boston Sports Journal Q&A where somebody was like, in a couple of years, Tatum can opt out, and he's such a Kobe Bryant, he's such a big Kobe Bryant guy that why wouldn't he want to go to the Lakers? There's so much money being thrown around that, he can make more money here in Boston, but there's so much being thrown around that he can go to any team he wants and make enough where you almost don't even notice the difference. You get to a point where you make so much money, you're like, there's more money, there's more numbers in my account, but I'm never going to spend that much, so I don't notice the difference. I'm just assuming that's what people say. I've never had that much money. I would notice the difference myself, but I'm not sitting there in line to make $500 million in a contract. Unless you guys play PrizePicks and get those Built Bars. Hello. Anyway, I'm joking. It felt like Tatum kind of crossed into that. I'm not going to say Celtic for life because in today's world, it's 2023. No one's anything for life anymore. Unless you're Udonis Haslem, and it's just kind of a weird situation. I don't know what Tatum's going to be in 5 years, where he's going to be. But this moment here, that moment, saying that stuff, really, I don't know, kind of felt a little different to me. Kind of felt a little different after these past couple of games. I don't know. Is that a turning point for him? Is it growth? Is it maturity? Is there something in his head that said, you know what? I'm done with the way I've been doing things. I understand now that what I need to do and who I need to be. Maybe there's some of that going on. It's hard to say. It's really hard to say. And this is why I don't want to overstate it. But I do feel like that comment, the way he felt after this game, the way he came out of these past 2 games, something's just a little bit different. Maybe it's just a little bit. Maybe it's just a little bit. But it's something. It's palpable. And I admit, maybe it's an overreaction. Maybe 2 games into the Miami series, we'll think differently. Because that's what we do. As observers, analysts, fans, not fans, we kind of react in the moment. People thought Phoenix, after they got Kevin Durant, was going to roll to the finals. Everybody was picking Phoenix. That didn't go well. Things change. And maybe things changed with Tatum. So we'll see. Miami's up next. This is a great win. This is huge. Obviously, it's a career-defining win and performance for Jayson Tatum. This is something when you go back, when you rank, when Tatum retires or when he goes into the Hall of Fame, because at this trajectory, he'll be a Hall of Famer. And you say, okay, let's rank Jayson Tatum's top 5 games. This one's going to be on the list. This one could be at the top. Game 7, after being down 3-2, to put up 51 the way he did it. It's amazing. I guess what we should hope for as Celtics fans is that it's not on the list. That it's good, but there are so many other performances that, like, also receiving votes is this performance. That's what you want. And you want them this year, and you want them as the Celtics winning a championship. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow, turning the focus to the Miami series. There will be a crossover podcast. We'll try to make that happen real quick. And then it's post-game bonus podcasts after the game on Friday. I'll be going down to Miami to cover the team down there. So make sure you're subscribed. I'm going to be down there. Daily podcasts. No one's giving you as much podcasting as I am. I'm giving you more episodes than anybody. I'll be down there. I'll be on the scene. I'll be talking to guys, giving you inside information. So make sure you're subscribed. Wherever you get your podcast, watch the show on YouTube, hop into the comments section. Everybody celebrate with one another. Everybody make fun of James Harden. That's fine. Very welcome on the Locked On Celtics YouTube page. Embiid, same thing. MVP, that's your MVP, another second-round exit. Have fun with that. And share the podcast if you're a regular listener, a subscriber every day. I would love to hear you, see you, sharing the podcast, telling your friends, family, and everybody that they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.